The wind moves first. It rolls low across an ocean of tall grass, bending the prairie in long silver-green waves beneath a pale Kansas sky. It is the year 1900, and the land feels endless. A lone farmhouse stands against the horizon, its wooden frame weathered by sun and storm. A dirt road cuts through fields of wheat that shimmer like gold in the morning light. A horse-drawn wagon creaks toward town, its wheels carving deep ruts into the soil. Somewhere in the distance, a steam locomotive whistles, its echo drifting across miles of open country. Kansas, at the turn of the 20th century, is a place of grit and promise, where survival depends on weather, muscle, and faith in the harvest. Now let the wind carry us forward more than a century. The prairie still stretches wide, but the farmhouse sits beside a paved highway. Pickup trucks and electric vehicles glide past fields guided by satellite mapping systems. Grain silos tower like modern cathedrals, and wind turbines turn slowly against the skyline, harvesting invisible currents of air. It is 2026, and Kansas remains rooted in the land, yet transformed by technology, connectivity, and global reach. The same wind blows, but it moves through a very different world. In 1900, Kansas was a young state, barely 39 years old. Its population hovered around 1.5 million people, most living in small towns or on isolated farms. Life revolved around agriculture. Wheat was king, and the state's identity was bound to the soil. Farmers rose before sunrise, their days shaped by seasons rather than clocks. Work was physical and unrelenting. Plowing, planting, harvesting, every task demanded strength and endurance. Children worked alongside their parents, learning early that survival depended on cooperation and resilience. By 2026, Kansas is home to nearly 3 million people. While agriculture still defines its character, daily life has shifted dramatically. Most residents live in urban and suburban areas clustered around cities like Wichita, Overland Park, and Kansas City, Kansas. Office parks, research centers, and hospitals now share the landscape with grain elevators and cattle ranches. Work often begins with the glow of a laptop screen instead of the crow of a rooster. The rhythm of life is guided by digital calendars, video calls, and global markets, rather than strictly by rainfall and frost. Transportation in 1900 was slow but transformative for its time. Railroads stitched Kansas together, connecting small towns to distant markets. The Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway carried cattle, wheat, and passengers across vast distances. For many families, a train ride was a rare and thrilling event. Horses remained essential, pulling wagons and plows, carrying riders into town for church or supplies. Roads were often muddy or dusty trails, shaped more by use than design. In 2026, Kansas is laced with interstate highways and regional airports. Wichita's Dwight E. Eisenhower National Airport connects travelers to major hubs across the country. Kansas City International Airport, just beyond the state line, links the region to the world. Cars dominate daily life, and long commutes are common. Yet the railroad remains, now hauling freight in massive quantities. Even as technology evolves, the old steel tracks still carry the state's agricultural backbone to ports and cities far beyond the prairie. Housing in 1900 reflected both hardship and hope. Early settlers built sod houses carved directly from the earth, their walls thick with packed prairie grass and soil. By the turn of the century, many families had upgraded to modest wooden farmhouses painted white, often with a wraparound porch. Inside, kerosene lamps cast flickering light across simple furniture. Heat came from a wood-burning stove. Water was drawn from a well. Privacy was scarce, and comfort was earned. In 2026, Kansas neighborhoods range from historic Victorian homes in towns like Emporia to sprawling suburban developments with energy-efficient designs. Central heating and air conditioning shield residents from the extremes of summer heat and winter cold. Smart thermostats adjust temperatures automatically. Clean water flows with the turn of a faucet. The house has become not only a shelter, but a hub of entertainment and communication, filled with streaming screens and wireless signals invisible to the eye. Work in 1900 Kansas was defined by physical labor. Beyond farming, there were blacksmiths, general store owners, school teachers, and railroad workers. Wichita was emerging as a trade center, while Dodge City still carried echoes of its frontier past. Industrialization was creeping westward, but much of Kansas remained rural and self-reliant. Communities were tight-knit, bound by shared struggle and mutual aid. Barn raisings and church socials were not just social events, but essential acts of cooperation. In 2026, Kansas has diversified its economy. Aviation is a major force, with Wichita known as the air capital of the world. Aircraft manufacturing plants produce business jets and commercial components shipped across the globe. Healthcare systems employ thousands. Universities conduct research in agriculture, engineering, and medicine. Technology startups emerge in renovated downtown buildings. While farming still matters deeply, many Kansans now work in climate-controlled offices or specialized industries unimaginable to their great-grandparents. Technology marks perhaps the most dramatic contrast between the two eras. In 1900, electricity was a novelty in many rural areas. Communication traveled by letter or telegraph. News arrived days or even weeks late. A farmer might know little of events beyond his county unless a newspaper carried the story. The world felt vast and distant. By 2026, Kansas is fully wired into the global network. Smartphones deliver instant updates from across the planet. High-speed internet connects rural classrooms to international lectures. A wheat farmer in western Kansas can monitor crop prices in real time and adjust sales with a tap on a screen. Weather forecasts, once uncertain predictions, are now powered by satellites and advanced modeling, offering precise warnings of approaching storms. Education in 1900 was often limited and local. One-room schoolhouses dotted the countryside, where a single teacher instructed children of all ages. Lessons focused on reading, writing, arithmetic, and moral instruction. Attendance could be inconsistent, especially during planting and harvest seasons when children were needed at home. In 2026, Kansas students attend public and private schools equipped with digital tools and specialized programs. Universities like the University of Kansas and Kansas State University draw students from across the nation and around the world. Research labs explore everything from sustainable agriculture to aerospace engineering. Education is no longer just preparation for farm life, it is a gateway to countless careers. Social structure in 1900 Kansas was shaped by tradition and clear roles. Men typically managed the fields and finances, while women oversaw the home, raising children and preserving food for winter. Communities were often homogeneous, though immigrant groups from Germany, Sweden, and other parts of Europe brought distinct customs and languages. African American communities, some founded by formerly enslaved people seeking opportunity in the West, carved out spaces of resilience despite widespread discrimination. By 2026, Kansas reflects broader American diversity. Women serve as executives, engineers, elected officials, and farmers in their own right. Cultural festivals celebrate Hispanic heritage, Native American history, and global influences. The state's population includes people from Asia, Africa, and Latin America, drawn by education and economic opportunity. While challenges remain, the social fabric is more complex and interconnected than ever before. The environment tells its own story of change. In 1900, the prairie seemed indestructible, but decades of intensive farming would soon reveal its fragility. The Dust Bowl of the 1930s, still decades away in our 1900 snapshot, would scar Kansas deeply, teaching painful lessons about soil conservation. At the turn of the century, few could foresee how human activity might reshape the land. In 2026, environmental awareness is woven into policy and daily life. Conservation practices protect topsoil. Irrigation systems are carefully managed to preserve the Ogallala aquifer. Wind farms generate renewable energy across western Kansas, their turbines standing like sentinels against climate change. Yet, extreme weather events remind residents that the prairie remains powerful and unpredictable. Healthcare in 1900 was basic and often distant. Doctors traveled by horse to reach patients. Medical knowledge was limited, and many relied on home remedies. Life expectancy was significantly shorter, and diseases that are now preventable posed serious threats. In 2026, hospitals in Wichita, Topeka, and Kansas City offer advanced surgical procedures and specialized care. Telemedicine connects rural patients with urban specialists.